Hey everybody, welcome back to Magic Time. Truly the most magical place I could possibly taste a bottle of wine probably in the world. I am here in Big Sur, California, right on the edge of a cliff. And truly this is what this channel is all about, is bringing to you magical places, magical wines, and I'm here to taste what is perhaps the world's best rosé. At least that's what Robert Parker had most famously said. That is the Domaine Tempier Bandol. This is the 2020 Domaine Tempier Bandol, one of the most coveted rosés in the world. Bandol in South France, kind of in like the Provence area in South France, known for the beautiful rosés that have so much character and balance and richness and density and minerality. Tempier is a winery that's been around a long time, and they actually were very instrumental in founding the AOC of Bandol and revamping the district back to the original roots, which was to plant particularly the grape Mourvedre. Mourvedre is a difficult grape to grow. It doesn't crop very heavy yields, and it ripens rather late. They were in that area planting grapes that were higher yielding so that they could make more quantity of wine for many years. And Tempier was instrumental, along with a few other producers, in kind of ripping out some of those lesser quality grapes and replanting Mourvedre. I think the reds have to be at least 50% Mourvedre in Bandol. Most of the producers are producing wines, the red wines, even a higher content of Mourvedre. The rosés are usually about 50% Mourvedre, a little bit of Grenache, a little bit of Cinsault oftentimes. I believe the Domaine Tempier 2020 is about 50% Mourvedre, maybe 55% Mourvedre, a little bit of Grenache and a little bit of Cinsault. They vinify their wines and do it in stainless steel, but they also go through a little tiny bit of malolactic fermentation, which I think gives the wine a little bit more texture and richness. Also, so they do a partial malolactic fermentation. Also, they do a little bit of aging in concrete tanks, which concrete tanks often have a natural kind of inertia that kind of stirs the lees or the yeast, giving the wine more texture and more richness. This is the 2020. I haven't tasted it yet. This is imported by the famous Kermit Lynch. If you're in the Bay Area in Berkeley, you can go to the Kermit Lynch wine shop, and generally speaking, you can pick this wine up if they have it in stock. It's pretty well allocated these days. Most wine shops, you can't get a lot of the Tempier. You might have to pre-order it. There's like more of an allocation going on with Tempier these days. Beautiful citrus aromas on this rosé. Lots of kind of grapefruit peel. Loads of like mineral characters, crushed stones, crushed rocks, kind of like this slaty mineral type thing. You know, some of the German Rieslings often have some of this like slate mineral character. This is coming across very heavily. This vineyard is planted mostly in limestone, a little bit of clay and limestone. That definitely comes across kind of like this sea character, the sea breeze character. Or it could be the fact that I'm sitting by an ocean, but yes, kind of this salinity, sea breeze type character. Boy, it's beautiful as always. Rich, concentrated, loads of mineral, searing acidity, grapefruit flavors, a little bit of this kind of gooseberry grapefruit thing going on. Subtle hints of like an unripe strawberry. So there's a little strawberry character to it, which is very pretty. Almost like a pomegranate seed type flavor too, like the pomegranates. Man, roaring texture. This is like waxy, mouth coating, beautiful rosé. These wines often age pretty well too for rosés. You can keep them around and age them and they get more pretty and they get more intense. I would have a hard time holding on to this for very long. It's absolutely stunning wine. I think it's one of the world's best rosés, if not the best. There's very few wines that do this to me. This is a very impactful wine. It's pretty rich. I would say seafood, of course. This is a good pairing with seafoods. Maybe a scallop dish it would go really well with. Of course, you could do it with oysters, which would be one of the best pairings, I think, oysters. But crab, you could do this with like a Dungeness, sweet Dungeness crab, and it would go really, really well. Domaine Tempier, guys, if you have not had this wine, get your hands on it. It's possibly the best rosé in the entire world. If I had to give it a score, 1 to 100, 94, 95 points easily, maybe 96. One of the most stunning little rosés. It's not cheap but for a rosé either, guys. This is like a $50 rosé, but it's well worth it. Guys, this is magic. Big Sur. If you haven't been to Big Sur, maybe go on a trip if you're in the Bay Area, or if you're coming in, stay in Carmel or stay in Monterey. It's about a 20-30 minute drive, maybe a little further, maybe 40 minutes down off the coast. It's an absolutely stunning drive. Beautiful ocean views. Also, Big Sur is home to a lot of beautiful redwoods. If you love to camp, if you love to hike, get down here on this coastline. It's absolutely stunning. Definitely one of the most beautiful places in the entire world. Big Sur, California, guys. Cheers, magic time. Subscribe. I love you guys.
3.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Magic Time, drinking world-class rosés in world-class destinations here on the coast at Pebble Beach on the beautiful coastline of Monterey. And it's absolutely a fabulous place. If you guys haven't done the 17-mile drive, gone down and done the whole entire coastline down here by Pebble Beach, you've got to do it. It's stunning views and a great place to enjoy a bottle of wine with your loved ones. This is the 2020 Domaine de Terrebronne Bandol Rosé. Now, in the last segment, we did the 2020 Domaine Tempier, which I think is maybe my favorite rosé in the world, and one of the certainly the most respected rosés in the world. This property is very well respected too. If you talk to enthusiasts of Bandol and Provence-style rosés, this one is very well known as well, and it's imported by the same importer as Domaine Tempier, Kermit Lynch. Absolutely fabulous importer. Terrebronne, slightly different soils in this vineyard than Tempier. It's still mostly clay and limestone, but it's more of like a blue limestone. There's some pebbles, there's some marl, a little bit golden color on the soil. Different growing environments. It's east of Bandol, of the actual AOC of Bandol, or just like slightly east of the center of Bandol. It's still Bandol AOC. It's 50% Mourvedre, which is the most common thing grown in Bandol, 25% Grenache, and 25% Cinsault. The color of this wine is different than Tempier as well. It's more of a like salmon colored pink, or more of like an orange type color. As you can see, Tempier was a little bit more pinkish in color. Right away when I smell this wine, I get this beautiful rose petal, like a really beautiful rose petal note. Slight hints of a citrus peel, kind of like a tangerine or tangelo type peel. Citrus pith, right? A little bit of that minerality, but not quite as much as the Tempier. Certainly not as citrusy as the Tempier either. I get more of like a peachy type thing, more of a stone fruit type note than heavy citrus notes. Like nectarine a little bit, nectarine. On the palate, good acidity. Not as textured and round and kind of creamy as the Tempier, but a little bit more dialed in terms of texture. Soft though, and kind of lighter in style. I'm getting little slight hints of cherry, little slight hints of strawberry. Getting that citrus thing a little bit too. Nectarine is a good one. There's a little bit of citrus type notes though. Not grapefruity though. More on like the tangelo type thing, the tangelo. Beautiful rosé. I would say this would go with like a beautiful garden salad, a spring salad with some vinaigrette. Might go really well with some shellfish as well. Not as textured and rich and oily and minerally as the Tempier, which I think is what makes that wine such world-class stuff. I would say this is a 90-point wine, maybe like a 90 to 91-point wine. Still beautiful, beautiful stuff, guys. Seek it out. 2020 Terrebronne Bandol, Domaine de Terrebronne. Anyways, cheers and thanks for following. Hey, welcome back to Magic Time. We are doing another magical location with another magical rosé to cap off this three-part series. This is the 2020 Domaine du Gros Noret. Beautiful Bandol, southern France, kind of Provence style, very light, gorgeous rosé. This producer has been around for some time. His father created a legacy. The son took over in 1997, further progressed the domain up into the upper echelons of what's going on in Bandol. It's one of the best producers of red wine in Bandol. Also, their rosé is stunning. It's 54% Mourvedre, which is not a surprise. The rosés have to be 50% or more Mourvedre. So it's 54% Mourvedre, 25% Cinsault, 19% Grenache, and 2% of a grape called Claret, which you don't hear very much. It's a Rhone grape. This wine has a gorgeous color. That's the first thing I noticed with it. Kind of this like orange, almost pink salmon type note to it. Gorgeous color. Almost like a peachy color to it. On the nose, the wine is very similar to Tempier in that it delivers a lot of this grapefruit type tone to it. Very citrusy, minerally. You can smell like this chalky mineral type thing going on. Same kind of soils in this domain as the others, mostly clay and limestones. Beautiful on the nose. A little bit of that floral, kind of a rose petal thing going on, a little bit of that kind of nectarine or underripe stone fruit type character going on as well. On the palate, the wine is very luscious, but also has very searing acidity. Probably out of the three wines, this is the one I would recommend with shellfish the most. And if you can get your hands on some wonderful ceviche from a place like this, that is the perfect recommendation for a food pairing for this particular rosé. Lots of acid, lots of mineral content, lots of this like grapefruit type tone, citrus pith, a little bit of underripe stone fruit, as I mentioned, kind of like a nectarine type character to it. Very elegant, kind of floral as well. Delicious rosé. I'd probably pin this one at a 92 to 93 point score. It's my second favorite of the three rosés. By the way, all three of them are imported by Kermit Lynch Wine Merchant, which is located out of Berkeley, California. Go to their website, check them out. Their website's very informative. If you want more in-depth knowledge about these producers that I've presented during this little video series, it's kermitlynch.com. At any rate, thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining me. Subscribe to the channel. Put comments down below. Love you guys. Cheers.